Sarah is, I think in the script she's described as slightly spoiled at the beginning of the film. And she's very kind, she's got her close group of friends, and I think she's a very kind of normal girl. You know, she goes to the cinema, she does all these things, but sort of hidden in it there's this boy, Julian, who she's sat next to for 5 years, I think, and she's never actually learned his real name because everybody calls him Torteau. So it's this, she lives this sort of quite sheltered life, and you know, she doesn't know about all the horrors that are taking place in the rest of France because she lives in the unoccupied area of the free zone in France, and her parents kind of shelter her from really what's going on in the rest of the world. And then later in the story, we think of it kind of as a coming-of-age story because it goes over 2 years. She gets 2 years older.
God, what is he doing?
I saw this on your desk.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I didn't even know his name.
Look at this freak.
But we had in common one crucial thing.
These are really good. For a Jew.
We had both seen how much hate people are capable of.
So Orlando, I'm wondering what he said about me now, but wait. Anyway, Orlando he's from Melbourne. He's my age, and yeah, he plays Julian, and I think it's been really interesting because very quickly we became very close friends because, like I said, we were living together kind of in the hotel or by apartments right next door to each other through the rehearsal period as well. So we very quickly became very close with each other. And I mean, it's interesting because he's done a lot more work than I have. And what I noticed really quickly, he's incredibly kind of focused, and he's thought so deeply about his character, and he knows exactly about Julian. You can ask him any question about Julian and he'll answer immediately, which I think is great. And he's been kind of such an inspiration to watch, really, and to perform with. He's incredibly kind of graceful, and which just sounds weird, but all his movements are so kind of poised and just so thought out. And he's been a real inspiration. He's got such a kind of, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's got such a sort of method for how he performs and how he thinks about the character. I was incredibly nervous when I first met Mark because I'd been at home with my sisters, and we decided that we were going to go through and we were going to watch as many of Mark's movies that we hadn't seen already as we could. And so that just made me really scared because I then turned up on set kind of having watched these amazing movies which I loved, like The Finding Neverland and The Kite Runner, and just thinking, oh my God, he's such an incredible director and I'm going to get to work with him. But he's just he's the loveliest, he's totally down to earth and so friendly, kind of so quickly. And we have a laugh together all the time on set, and I go and watch the kind of the playback of all the shots in his tent with him, with Renee, the producer, and with Matthias, the DOP. And it's just been so lovely. He's just so kind of, also just really generous in terms of, you know, the acting. So I'll turn up in the morning and I'll say, you know, well, what do you think for this scene? Because maybe the stage direction will say, kind of, Sarah cries, and I'll say, well, do you think that she would? And he says, well, it's up to you, it's your character. You know, he'll give a direction, but then he'll say, well, ultimately, you know, you have to feel what's right for you, which has just been so lovely. And then it's really interesting because I feel like after a while I've really got a sense of like almost like what he's going to say after a take. And so, you know, I'll do a take and then I just know that he'll come in and I'll kind of look up and be like, I need to be less emotional on that bit. And he'd be like, exactly. And we've got it like almost like a really good routine. And he's really concise in the way that he says things. He's got an incredible way of kind of, if I'm confused about how a line should be said, he just goes, well, it's just said like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. That's completely right. And it's incredibly helpful. And he's just such a nice and funny guy at the same time. Gillian Anderson plays Vivian. And I think, yeah, I was there on her first shooting day, which was actually coincidentally the last scene that we're in together. But I mean, throughout the process, it's just been such an kind of an honour to work with. I mean, Gillian Anderson, who is just the most incredible actress, and she's. We had one day where it was just us two in the barn, and we were doing the hair washing scenes, and it was just so incredible to talk to her, and the way she works is so interesting as well. She's got a like incredible eye for when her performance is looking good. So she, after every take, she sort of goes, yeah, that was good, right? That was good. And Mark kind of goes in, of course that was good. But she'll go, no, I think we should do another one, we should do this. And it's been just so incredible, and I got to sort of ask her, because I've got no experience, basically, and she's got so much experience. And I got to sort of say, well, how do you think, how can I make this look natural by doing this? And she just gave me some incredible advice, kind of on a small level, sort of like, things like you have just really tiny pieces of really useful information, like in eating scenes you have to kind of angle your hand so it doesn't look weird and so you don't spill stuff down your front, and just these really tiny but just incredibly helpful pieces of information that she's picked up over her amazing career. And it's just been such an kind of an honour and a pleasure to meet her and work with her.